Welcome, listeners, to episode 42 of the Run and Guide podcast, where I aim to provide informative content and interviews with elite athletes and health professionals from around the world, like in today's episode, where I'm chatting to a Canberra runner who's been running at an extremely high level on the track for over a decade now. He's been through the US college system and has just wrapped up a fortnight of training in the high country that is the annual pilgrimage for Australia's best distance runners. Welcome to the Run and Guide podcast, Rorey Hunter.
Thanks for having me, Aston.
No, I've been looking forward to it, mate. So how did it all go up there?
Yeah, it went really well. I actually had a small surgery at the start of November and kind of been coming back from that. And, there was a bit of a question mark as to whether I was even able to get up to altitude. And I sort of found a little bit of form towards the end of December over Christmas, got a few sessions together. And we were like, let's just head up the hill. And even if we can get out, 5 to 7 days a week of singles, that'll be great. And if we can do some sessions, that'll be awesome. And I was able to do that and a bit more. And so in a really good spot coming off the hill. So
tell us about the surgery.
Kind of a weird one. I had an extra muscle called an accessory soleus muscle in my right leg, and sort of a little tendon that ran down on the side of my Achilles, attached down at the calcaneus. And it was just bothering me for the last sort of 18 months. Last season I had to take sort of 5 months of sort of interrupted training, and ended up was just battling with it for 5 months. I had about 10 injections into it and finally got it good for the season last year, but obviously it was a little bit hampered with the preparation. But and then had a good season, and then as I was coming off my last race over in Europe, it sort of flared up again, and I did the quarantine. That didn't make it any better, so I was like, you know what, just bite the bullet and get the surgery done. They basically just snipped the tendon. I had a nice little 5 centimeter scar down at my down near the Achilles. But it's been pretty quick recovery. Still a little bit of swelling and whatnot, and I've got to be a bit careful, but I'm pretty happy with it so far.
Okay, so that's something you've had since birth then?
Yeah, apparently.
And how far into your running career did you even know it was there?
Yeah, well, good question. So I saw Craig Purdom for a different issue a couple of years ago, and he was, you got an accessory soleus there. And I was like, what's that? And and I only sort of had issues with it. Maybe it sort of causes some issues prior to other structures around it. But I only really realised I had trouble with it for the last few years.
Okay. And do you know of anyone else who's got these?
A few other runners I know have had it in the past. Sometimes it goes unnoticed and has no troubles, but I think it's more like because it's not supposed to be there, a bit of extra compression in the area. And the surgeon actually said it was he only really sees it mainly issues in middle distance runners, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you think having something there as an extra would be an advantage, but
maybe it was early on.
Accessory muscle, that sounds awesome, especially around the tendons and Achilles and that, but obviously not. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So a fair bit of rehab after surgery then before you headed up the mountain, or?
Yeah. Fair bit of rehab.
Like water running, like Alter G, or just that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, both of those. Alter G, a lot of bike, a lot of pull. So I wasn't allowed to get in the pool for a few weeks with the stitches, but I've just been trying to stay fit. I was able to sort of start the running up reasonably quickly. So
okay, and that was done here in Canberra, the surgery?
Sydney.
Sydney, okay.
Yeah, because I actually try to get an opinion from a local surgeon. He was like, "Look, mate, I've never seen this before."
Oh, right, yeah. Don't go with him.
Let me chat to a guy in Sydney.
And
I'll go the Sydney route.
Yeah, definitely. Good call. All right, so you're pretty happy with the way the body absorbed the training up there then?
Yeah, really happy. Yeah. I sort of really surprised myself as to how quickly, because we did a fair bit of altitude training last year. Probably we were up there for 3 or 4 months over 6 month period, just with Perisher, and then we went to Fontainebleau in France, in Europe, and so sort of adapted pretty quickly this time. I've had a lot of iron issues in the past as well, and when you're at altitude, obviously you need a high amount of iron
Yep.
demand.
Yep.
So I sort of got on top of that, I think, this year
Yep.
a lot better.
Is that popping tablets or injections?
So yeah, the last year I actually had probably 3 or 4 infusions, iron infusions, because I just couldn't handle the iron supplement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now I actually found a really good a liquid iron supplement, and chatted with a dietitian and sort of got some strategies around iron, and when to take it and what with and that sort of thing. And it seems to have really helped, and I haven't had to have an infusion yet this year. So
Yeah. Is that just through the stresses of running, or do you don't eat red meat, or?
no, my diet's pretty good.
Yeah.
Eat red meat and that sort of thing. I think it's just through running. Not
Yeah.
don't absorb it too well.
Yeah.
Had a few issues with timing of carbohydrates, that sort of thing. It seems so.
Okay.
Got on top of that, I think, and it's paying off.
So I guess you just have to go and get tested, what, every 3 months or 6 weeks to make sure you're on top of it, or?
Yeah, that's it. I can tend to usually tell
Yeah.
within a few days or so whether I'm low,
Yeah.
and
Feeling
so
flat. Yeah.
generally,
Yeah.
but stay on top of it.
Yeah. Looks like a good group of guys up there this year and girls.
Yeah, really good. We've had probably 20 to 30 people up there, all with different groups.
Yep. Yep.
So it was really cool having, there was a study up there going.
Okay.
I think they're still up there at the moment. And then the Telford guys and girls and Philo squad was up there as well. So
Yeah.
it's a really good atmosphere actually. We jumped into from some sessions together, and it was cool to see some of those younger guys feeding off us, and
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
good to chat with them. So no, it was good.
Yeah. Weather was kind.
Yeah, not too bad. A few days where it was a bit rainy, but it wasn't raining all day, so you could sort of time it well. So it was
Yeah.
kind of humid up there actually this year.
And the study, was that like an AO study on altitude, or was it something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at the effects of pomegranate juice on endurance performance.
Oh, there you go. I haven't caught up with the pomegranate scoop. Yeah, I thought we were
Yeah.
still on the beetroot juice, but we moved on, have we?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure how it's going, but I think it's some promising results there.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm just sort of looking over your career here. Like I said, you've sort of been doing it for a fair while now. Well, let's actually start off with when you started running.
I guess I started running just in primary school and high school. Through high school, I probably took it a bit more serious. Had
Did
some
you
really
grow
good.
up in Canberra, or?
No, I originally born in Western Australia, and then moved to Cairns and did my high school years there.
Okay.
Far North Queensland. And then moved to Brisbane and did some uni there, and then headed over to the States from there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I guess just like most Aussie kids, just did the school system and had some really good supportive coaches, and they encouraged me to keep doing it. And I guess mid high school, I sort of started focusing on it. Dropped a few of my other sports, AFL and basketball.
Okay. You must have a bit of height then.
6'1" ish.
Interesting with obviously the weather, the humidity, and just the tropical weather up there. Do you find that you still perform well in those conditions, even though it's been a while since you've been up there?
Yeah, no. Every time I go back, I tend to adapt better than most. Like I remember I did a 10K up in Townsville a couple of years ago, and even though it was sort of June, July, it's still pretty warm and humid year round up there. I still ran pretty well, like I ran I think 29:45 and broke Craig Mottram's record for the 10K, and so I must still carry some of those heat benefits and adaptations.
Yeah, awesome. Let's talk about the little jump over to the US college system. What years were that, and how did that all come about?
So I headed over there in 2012, and sort of spent 5 years over there actually, because I did the 3.5 years of scholarship and then stayed on with my coach over there actually for a year and a bit.
And that was Indiana, was it?
Indiana, yeah. And sort of coming out of high school, my goal was to qualify for the World Juniors in the 800, and I I was really close to qualifying for that. I won the nationals that year and ran 150.8, I think, and the IAAF standard was 151 flat, but unfortunately AA set their standards a bit faster, and I was just outside of that. And so, yeah, I was pretty disappointed I wasn't picked for that, and I sort of was looking to my next goal and was thinking, where to from here. And my coach in high school actually went to Idaho State, and he sort of hyped up the whole system over there and encouraged me to maybe look into it. And a few Aussies were already over there. I think some of the Villanova guys, I think Geordie Williams and Sam McKenty were over there and running pretty well. And so it was pretty exciting sort of prospect, and emailed around and ended up at Indiana. And yeah, it was pretty awesome experience. Don't really have any regrets over there. I got a few injuries along the way and ended up having surgery towards the end. But I had some really good years, and took away some really good racing experience coming away from there.
Yep. And that was what, 8 and 1500?
Yeah, mainly. Yeah, so I guess when you're on the team, they sort of, as a miler, you sort of get thrown into everything from 800, I think around a few 600s as well, 600 through to 10K cross country. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were racing a lot. Some of those indoor racing and training probably hurt the body a bit and sort of contributed to some of the Achilles injuries I had. But no, I definitely took away some really good experience from that over there, and they were really good to me.
NCAAs?
Yeah, I went to a few of those. I think my highest finish was, I think, a third place in the distance medley relay indoors, which is really good fun. And then I think I was top 10 outdoors in 2014 in the 1500. And then unfortunately after that, I sort of had those Achilles problems and wasn't quite at my best.
What were you studying over there?
I did exercise science.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep. And you're continuing on with that, or?
Yeah, so I used that to because I wanted to study physio when I got back to Australia, and so used that to get into the master's program here in Canberra, and that's sort of what brought me partly to Canberra, was to study physio.
The training sort of over there is a little bit, I mean, you can tell me it's slightly different to the way we train over here. Are there sort of any sort of training principles that you learnt over there that you still continue and implement into your training today, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, it is a different sort of system. They tend to work on 2 key sessions a week, Tuesday, Friday. Less of the they probably tend to go towards more of the track stuff. Probably, some of the stuff that I learnt over there definitely carry over here, and keep up some of that more quality stuff, some of the drills, and just how to sort of train as well at a high level. That was probably the highest, probably the first time I trained at a high level was over there, and sort of learned a lot of lessons. And so you tend to carry some of those lessons over into, even though it's a different program, definitely tend to carry some of those lessons over for sure.
And you mentioned you came to Canberra half for doing the Masters. The other half, would that be to train with Dick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd never actually met Dick before coming over, and I just sort of was looking at different groups back in Australia, and I didn't really want to come to a big city like Sydney or Melbourne. I wanted to, because over in the US, I was sort of in a small town, and I really liked the trails, and I think it's really good for injury prevention and getting strong around the hills and that sort of thing. And
yep.
Canberra looked like a really good place to train, really good trails, and I sort of did a bit of research on what Dick's sort of training was like, and really liked that. Had some similarities to my coach in the US as well, and so it ended up being a really good fit, and really good guys over here as well to train with. Been very welcoming to me.
So what year was that?
Come over in 2017, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, midway 2017.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Team Telford, they call it. So we've got Jai Edwards there, obviously. Do a lot of running with him. Aaron Parker. It's a pretty good squad, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot of talent from 800 guys all the way through to the marathon. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Money Bottom. She had a good run
yep,
at Melbourne. Yeah.
yep.
So, I mean, obviously, Dick's a legend. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him on this show, and he's a great man to talk to, and he's done so much for distance running, including other sports. It's actually quite an interesting little life story, that one. What do you sort of feel that Dick sort of brings to the table, like ingredients-wise, that helps drive that performance? He just seems to have a pretty good success rate.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a lot of things that Dick does really well, and obviously his credentials speak for themselves. But I think, yeah, some of the really good things that I suppose stand out for me is his ability to read his athletes as to what we need throughout the season and just week to week. Like he's always searching for different things, different stimulus that we kind of maybe are lacking a little bit, or it's a very dynamic program. You sort of never doing the same thing week to week, and he always likes a lot of variety, whether it be on the hills, on the grass, on the track. He always incorporates, all those different elements. And because he's got a physiology background, there's always a reason and there's always a why behind things. And that's what I really like about Dick. And, as a science guy, I sort of always like to know the why behind things.
Yep.
And we get along really well. He's very open to discussions as well, and really values the athlete's input. And I think that's really valuable as an athlete to have your voice heard and have a bit of input. And so especially as a bit of a more experienced athlete, I sort of know what works for me, and it's saying that he also knows when I think knows what I need, and sometimes puts the hard word on when I think you're mentally getting in the way yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are probably the things that stand out to me.
We're very lucky to have Stromlo Park down there, haven't we, with that
Oh yeah,
awesome
absolutely.
grass track. And like you said, like I spent a lot
Yeah,
of time running those trails around there. I can't think of a better place to run.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think I've heard a few people say it, but I think Canberra's probably one of the best places in the world to train.
Yeah.
And that's no exaggeration. Like especially because you got the Perisher, which is ideal altitude within 2.5 hours of Canberra, which is pretty unheard of, and pretty great weather year round for running, great trails, great sports medicine. So I think the environment that we're in is also a huge factor in our success.
Back to the college system, there was a lot of indoor events there at Bloomington. Is that part of the university?
Yeah, so that was that was the town that I was living in, Bloomington,
Okay.
Indiana. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's where the uni is. Yeah.
Yeah, and is there a certain type of time of the year on the calendar that you're running indoors compared to outdoors, or is there a schedule there?
Yeah, so we usually run cross country in the fall, which is like autumn.
Yeah.
So that's usually, I don't know, so yeah, but generally around August through to say November is nationals, I think, for cross, and then you transition into indoors around December through to sort of February, March. So that's their winter. So obviously you can't really run outdoors. It's too bloody cold there.
Yeah. Does it? I don't. Indiana, it wouldn't snow there, would it?
Yeah, it
It
does
does.
snow there. It
Okay.
does get pretty chilly there. Hot summers, sort of you get all the extremes there. So you get pretty cold winters. I think it gets down to sort of minus 10 or so in the winter. So pretty chilly, and then it can get up to 30-ish degrees in the summer. So yeah.
Not too dissimilar to Canberra.
Yeah, a little
Maybe a
much.
little bit colder. Yeah.
A little bit colder, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to your time overseas. I was looking at your times here. You're over there. I've got some results here, June, July. So tell me what that was all about, and then we'll talk about those races.
Yeah. So headed over to Europe to try qualify for the Olympics. That was the main goal this year. Didn't quite achieve that, but I ran I think 4 or 5 times under my previous PB, which was great. Had some really good consistent results. Didn't quite. I think I was pretty due for something around that 334, 335. It was definitely there, but sometimes you just can't get it out. You don't have the right race situation, or Things don't go quite to plan, but yeah, I was pretty happy with how the season unfolded, given the preparation that I had with the accessory soleus. And so I think, I didn't start proper training until the end of January and had a really solid sort of 5 or 6 months there where I was really consistent and had some pretty good results.
Yeah, I see 19th of June in France, you've ran your 1500 metre PB. Just shy, I
Yeah.
guess they're trying to hit that 335 qualifier. You ran 336.42. Still, was having a look at the history. There's 23rd fastest by an Australian. One more second faster, mate, and you'll leapfrog Luke Matthews and Herb Elliott's time. He
Yeah,
ran in the
yeah,
1960
radar.
Olympics, but
Yeah.
yeah, so 336.42. So, um, yeah, a bloody good run. So what were your other times?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think I ran a 336 in 336.8 in Nice a week before that. Obviously, the 337 low at Nationals, finished third a few months prior to that. I think I ran a couple of 338s, one in Box Hill, one in the piss and rain in Luzerne, which was the last day for qualifying. Unfortunately, it was terrible weather there.
Okay. So where did you guys base
337.
yourself over there during this time?
Yeah, so we were at mainly at Font Romeu for most of it, in the Pyrenees in France, at altitude. So Dick's pretty big on the altitude stimulus, and as a world-class 1500 runner, you sort of most of the guys in that top list spend some time, if not a lot of time, at altitude, and I think it's a real advantage, or it's kind of a necessity now that you spend time at altitude.
Yep.
And so yeah, so we were based there and sort of came up and down for races. I think next year we learnt a lot of lessons, from that, and I think next year we'll probably definitely still go to altitude, but we probably won't try to race up and down off the hill. We'll probably just get a good block in and then try to race for a few weeks off sea level,
Okay. Yep.
because it does make you a bit tired because you're training at obviously pretty high.
So 4 weeks after that run in France, your 1500, you ran a 1 mile in Gateshead in the UK there. 13th of
Yeah,
July, you ran a 3:57.39. Not bad to go to
yeah,
sub 4, mate.
yeah. That was good to get another sub 4 on the. I was hoping for a little bit quicker, but good to
Mm.
go sub 4 there. But yeah, it was a small PB, I think, and
Mm.
yeah, I think I'd love to get that mile down to sort of a bit closer to Jai's 349. But yeah, given the 1500, 336, I should be able to be at
Yeah.
least 354ish.
Yeah. Well, there's 76 Aussies that have been under the 4. I see there, and you're sitting at 36, mate.
Yeah,
Uh,
nice.
it's yeah, Jai's sitting in second there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Stewie,
happy
Stewie
late.
Jai, and then Mottram. And all those runs. It's at this meet at Oslo there.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
all run quick there. It seems. I mean, Mottram ran his mile there in 2005, and then
yep,
Stewie and Jai 16 years later.
yep. The dream mile.
Yeah, so go to Oslo, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get in.
Let's head back a few years. I was looking at your 5,000 meters there. Answer this question for me, because it always. I mean, Palo Alto. You look at on the maps there. It's pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, is it part of the actual Stanford University grounds, or is it actually separate?
yeah. No, that is
It
Stanford's
is. Yeah.
track. Yep,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Stanford's track. Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, it's a big meet, and clearly, you went there 14, 15, and 16. But in 16, you ran that 1350. With the other previous years, you're running a 1355. So
Mm.
that's obviously a good meet for you.
Yeah, yeah. I had some good runs there. I think my college coach, we were focusing on more the 1500 back then, and he would tell me, because it's usually at the start of the season, that one, and he'd say, Rory, you have to run one 5K a year, but I want you to break 14 minutes, and so that was
There you
that
go.
was sort of my deal. And
Yeah.
if I broke 14, I didn't have to do any more in the
Oh, there you
season.
go.
So
Bit of accountability. There you go.
yeah, yeah,
He knows
yeah,
what carrot to dangle.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, so that was
Yeah.
some
No,
good
it
feedback.
pops up a lot, when I look at runners' profiles. Obviously, Benny Saints pick up the Aussie record there in 2011.
Mm,
Liam Adams' PB's there that he ran in
yeah,
2012.
Yeah, no, it's a good track. Like you usually get
Yeah,
really good weather and
yeah,
quick track, and all good runners go there usually. So
yeah. So
um,
you have to get an invite. If you're an international runner, you have to get an invite to get over there, or?
yeah, kind of. So I think it's generally geared towards college
Yep,
kids, and then
yep.
they sort of have different seeded races, and so
Okay, yeah,
I think I was sort of in the third race maybe,
yeah,
and then they just get quicker and quicker.
yeah.
But no, it's a pretty cool race.
So let's talk about what's coming up. What sort of distances are you focusing on, and are you thinking of Com Games and World Champs in Oregon, or what's the plan from here? Obviously, you're just still on the rebuild from surgery. You've
Yeah,
obviously just done a big block up at altitude, which is fantastic. But what's coming up this year on the calendar?
yeah. So yeah, definitely Com Games and Worlds is on the radar. Australia's obviously got some phenomenal
Yeah,
milers at the moment, so
it's a tough time, isn't it,
it's
trying to get
it's
one of those
tough.
singlets? Yeah,
Yeah, yep. So I guess you can't nothing's guaranteed, and obviously anything can happen. Guys get injured. I hopefully have that breakthrough and hit one of those times, and if you're in the mix, do well at nationals, then why not? So yeah, that's definitely the ultimate goal is to get onto one of those teams, if not both. But yeah, obviously focus on the 1500 again this season. I'll probably kick off the season with a 3K, hopefully in March,
yep.
at the Sydney Track Classic. Hopefully get that 3K time down a little bit. It's due for a refresh. And then, yeah, I think the plan will be maybe do a little 1500 tune up before nationals, and then, yeah, internationals, and then head overseas. I think we're planning on going to the US this time early on in the season and try to hit a time.
Yep. So the A qualifiers, what, 3:35 even.
Yeah,
That's for the worlds and comms.
yeah.
Can you get in with a slower time than that, like a B qualifier or
Nah,
no?
that's kind of the cutoff. You kind of
Yeah, right.
have to hit that standard, and especially like obviously there's three or four guys already under that,
Yeah,
and also running quicker than
yeah.
3:33. So yeah, it's tough, but
Is it
you got
possible to do both worlds and comms with that shorter
um
distance or?
no one's really given an answer to that,
Yeah,
but I think there is sort of
yeah,
whispers that you probably can double because 1500s don't take too much out of you.
yeah.
So I just got to, roll with it and try to run as quick as I can and get myself in the mix. And
Mm.
like I said, anything can happen. People can get injured, and
You
you
need to
know,
send some emails out to these guys and say, hey, come on, guys, let's share it. Two can go to
yeah,
comms and two can
exactly.
go to worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll push them out into different events.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess you wouldn't know which guys are going to target that at this stage.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know at the
Yeah,
moment. Um, but yeah, just focus on myself and try to get as fit as possible.
yeah. So when's nationals?
End of March, early April. I think
Yeah.
it's the 1500 this year. Yeah, a bit earlier.
And you said you head over the states earlier. And when would that be?
Probably around May. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think I think there's a big race in Brisbane after nationals
Okay.
that we'll probably try to target as well.
Yeah.
Try to run something quick there, and then yeah, usually we'll try to get back up to Perisher for a little bit, or head over to altitude in the US,
Yeah.
or a bit of both there, just to recharge a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I see the Com Games window closes 12th of June. I'm not too sure when Worlds is, but obviously be pretty close to that one as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think 26th of June is
Okay.
the cutoff. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
could had the pick of two, is there either one you'd prefer? Would you go Worlds over Comms or?
Probably Worlds is slightly more prestigious
Yeah.
just because you got all the countries,
Yeah.
but there's obviously a soft spot in the Commonwealth Games as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming from Australia,
Yeah.
so I mean I wouldn't be picky, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, probably if I had to choose, it'd be Worlds.
Have you run on that track at Oregon before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple of times. They
Since the
had
new
NPL
stadium?
race there. No, I haven't
Okay.
been there since then. So yeah, it looked pretty awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I see you and Jai recently picked up a bit of a deal with Adidas. Tell us about that. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, really excited about that. 4-year deal if we're running well.
Yep.
And so yeah, we hooked up with James Templeton over in Europe this year, and gelled really well with him. He's been a great support and really helped us out already over the last 6 months or so, and managed to get us that deal, sort of a group deal with Jai and I. Yeah, super excited about what's to come from that. The last few years it's pretty tough with limited support in the sport,
Yep.
and so to get some financial support and
Yep.
gear support's huge,
Yeah.
and it'll hopefully go a long way to helping us run quicker times this season.
Yep.
And so yeah, super pumped about that.
Yeah, that's good. And you got some sort of like marketing or race obligations to go along with that contract, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so they sort of expect you to race overseas and obviously promote their gear and social media obligations, that sort of thing. So yeah, got to be a bit more active on the socials than both of us were previously. So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, got to try to get a photographer out at training it here and there.
Yeah. Oh, well, the camera lenses these days on mobile phones aren't too bad. So,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've unfortunately we had a young guy, Flynn, up at Perisher. He had the nice camera on most of our sessions, so we're able to throw a few photos up.
Yeah. 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 No, I saw some on the gram. No, mate, tell us about your your strength and conditioning program. Like normally, like at the moment, it would obviously be taking a bit of a priority. But how do you sort of fit that in during your week? And has that always been within
Mm.
your normal training program, or is something you're putting a bit more focus on now?
Yeah, I've always sort of incorporated strength work, and I think it's really important, especially as a middle distance runner, to help with just some of that speed and power, and also injury prevention as well. And so, yeah, we've been better about it this year, just because I think we've had a bit more time given some of the injuries. But yeah, like I think yeah, we pepper it in twice to three times a week. I think you also got to be careful as well, especially when you're training hard, to not overdo the strength work, and be careful with the legs. But definitely think it can add to your program, and like I said, injury prevention, and help with a bit of that speed and power
Mm,
stuff.
yep.
So yeah, I'm always learning different exercises. I'm obviously a qualified physio as well, and so I'm forever learning different stuff, and
Yep.
I love trying different stuff in the gym. But yeah, try to get in and out of the gym within sort of 45 minutes. Don't overdo it, and I definitely think it can help
Yep.
with the running if you don't overdo things.
Yeah, obviously it's balancing between I tend to like moving towards more flexibility, mobility
Yeah,
type work now
yeah,
rather than, loading up and doing squats, that type of thing. Because like you
yeah,
said, you can't sort of burn the candle from both ends, can you? You got to, and you never really know where that is. I
yeah,
always imagine just being able to stand in a scanner every morning, and it just gives you this full rundown of the conditioning of
yeah.
your body and your immune
That'd
system,
be
and
nice.
because
That would be nice.
every now and then you just get to kick up the butt. You think everything's going right now. I can handle this gym session the next day, and
Yeah,
yeah, so
100%.
yeah, that's why it's easy for us to drop it really quickly and go, no, I'm probably better off saving the legs for tomorrow's session.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But yeah,
No, I
finding that
mean,
balance. So that's why I guess maybe it's my easy way out of just going, I'll just grab some TerraBand and some hand weights and do some strength and mobility through that way.
yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, no, I think if you can't go too wrong with keeping the weight sort of reasonably heavy, but keeping the reps really low.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I feel like a lot of runners run into the trap of thinking, oh, I just need to do lighter weights and more reps, and
Yeah. More
that actually
endurance sets. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
actually the evidence shows that you get that sort of stuff, the endurance in the muscles from the actual running. So
Yep. Yep.
you're better off, and you'll actually come out feeling better if you keep the reps low and the weight sort of generally pretty like comfortable, but
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you certainly have to hit the gym to do that. I mean, I've got stuff at home, but I
Yeah,
mean, to lift heavy, yeah, you pretty much need a squat rack or Smith rack or Smith
that's
press or
true.
some
Yeah,
help. Yeah, yeah,
good kettlebells or something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I'd much prefer to be running up hills than doing
that's
endurance
true.
sets in the gym for sure.
But yeah, I suppose for injury prevention, it's pretty important,
Yep,
especially if you've got a few niggles.
yep,
Keeping on top of that stuff is
yep.
pretty paramount.
What about stepping up in the future? You have any sort of ambitions to hit the road and try the halves or the fulls or?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think over the coming few years, I'll probably stick to the middle distance.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had pretty good success over 5 and 10 with limited exposure to it.
Yeah.
I think Dick's training, you can run well over anything from 800 through to marathon. His program doesn't really change a whole lot. And so yeah, if I'm healthy and have the motivation for it, I think for sure I think I could see myself doing maybe some 5Ks and then moving up to halves and marathons if the body allows.
I remember Reese Edwards saying when he was here training with Dick, Dick believes in just being 10k fit because that way, when
Mm,
you're really 10k fit, then all you have to do is adjust your training to drop it down to a shorter distance or just to head up to the longer distance. But if you're 10k fit, it
yeah.
means you're pretty much covering all bases.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean that's sort of his is one of his cornerstones of his program is getting that 10k fitness really high, and
yeah,
then just yeah touching on the other stuff whether it be if you're a miler you sort of add in a bit more of the faster stuff here and there
yeah,
at the end of the session or on your Monday and Wednesdays you do some faster strides or a bit more gym or whatever,
yeah.
whereas the marathon guys they'll do the high mileage and the longer runs, but generally the sessions are all pretty similar. So really, yeah, we do a lot around that 10k pace, and yeah, I think yeah, it gets you extremely fit, and yeah, you feel like you can run really well over anything from the 800 through the marathon, really. And you kind of see that with the best marathoners in the world. They're actually really quick guys. Kipchoge obviously, I don't know if he could run 3:33 anymore, but he's got that base speed and quality behind him, and obviously he's running 2:55s or faster on the marathon. It's not slow, so I think you can't go wrong with running around that 10k pace.
Do you ever take the shoes off and run a bit of barefoot around that grass track, or
Yeah, I do actually. I like a few barefoot strides.
it feels
Probably
nice,
one of
doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, it's I do like the barefoot running. You got to be careful with it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, throwing a few strides in the barefoot's good.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very lucky down there. I think they're going to someone's going to saying they're going to redevelop that crit track they got down there,
Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard talks about that.
turn it
Hopefully,
into
it's
2.5 k's or something. I don't think that'd touch the.
okay, good.
Yeah, no. Oh, there'd be there'd be hell to pay,
Yeah,
but
protests.
yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. But yeah,
I
no.
think they got to get rid of some of those kangaroos down there, though. I think
Oh,
because
it's carnage sometimes, isn't it? Isn't it funny that they actually, you're probably down there doing early morning sessions. I'm the first one down there, and
yeah,
they get to know you, and they just lay there. And sometimes you actually just got to
yeah,
bounce around them. You know what I mean?
they're super tame, aren't they? Like I was
They
doing a
are.
session of
Yeah.
2k reps down there the other day. I was sort of going down the hill on the 1k loop, and there was two roos, like sort of smaller ones, and I split them up, and one of them got a bit startled, and he sort of went me and tried to fight me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Bounced after me, yeah, for a few hops, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
looked back and I was like, geez.
Probably got a fright. Yeah, I haven't really
Yeah,
had any of them come towards me. They just sort of look at me and scratch their chest and move on.
yeah.
I love it when I see them up and they're boxing each other. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, that's pretty funny.
It is, and then sometimes they just look at you and they just continue on. Hey, fellas, how you going? No, it is a good environment down there.
No, it's great. We love it.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, mate, that's a wrap. Look, thanks heaps for your time.
Yeah, thanks
All
so
the best
much.
with your racing now and in the future. Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Stay healthy, mate. Keep believing. Anything's possible.
Thank you so much. Cheers for your time.
All right. Cheers, Rory. Thanks, mate.
Thanks. Bye.